Hello and welcome back, and welcome to Thursday, and welcome to an ongoing meditation that we're doing upon a message that was delivered in so far 3 parts in June and in July and now August the 1st, and it should go to something like 4 parts. We'll see where that goes, but it's just something that actually started with Memorial Day and developed into a message series looking at what was happening in the temple at 3 o'clock one afternoon. We're seeing an explosion of grace, and we want to connect back to that. But when we jump back in here, we're going to find ourselves in something that we would rather not do, I would think. Seems like it's not very good public relations policy. But Peter, now that he has their attention, is focusing their attention. First, he has focused his attention upon the greatness of the miracle, upon the servanthood of Jesus. And now he's talking about an area where they have really blown it. He's talking about their sin. He's talking about a great mistake that they had made as a people. And he has just said, you handed him over. Who? Jesus, the servant of God. You handed him over to be killed. And you disowned him before Pilate. Perhaps some of these same people had yelled out, crucify him, let his blood be upon us and upon our children, upon our children's children. A direct contradiction of the blessings of God, which are supposed to be to you and your children and your children's children. They had invoked a curse upon themselves. They had disowned him before Pilate. Though Pilate had said, I find no fault in him, I'll let him go. They cried out, if you let him go, you are no friend of Caesar. We have no king but Caesar. Now, the religious leaders had been whipping them into this frenzy and had some agents provocateurs sprinkled throughout the crowd. But some of these same people in the temple had stood there cheering on the crucifixion of Jesus. Wow. Peter knows this, and he's taking them on. By the way, who would be a better person to speak about this than somebody who himself had disowned Jesus and rejected him and had to be restored? Isn't that interesting that Peter speaks this message? He is, after all, an expert in what it looks like to disown the Lord. He goes on and builds his case. He doesn't let him go. He says, you disowned the holy and righteous one and ask that a murderer be released to you. When I hear that phrase, you disowned, I'm reminded of what Peter himself had done. I don't know this man. And he asked that a murderer be released to him. You killed the author of life, but God raised him from the dead. We are witnesses of this. Did you hear what's being said in there? But God, you did all of this. Peter builds the full and complete case against the people of Israel, right there in Solomon's colonnade. And he does it right in the shadow and right as a man is standing with him, holding on to him, that has been miraculously healed. And he takes this opportunity to present the full case of their guilt before God. Why does he do this? Because he's about to show them the true light that many of them have rejected for a very long time. And he says, but God raised him from the dead. We are witnesses of this. So on this Thursday, maybe we can be challenged to focus upon the idea that God has done these amazing and miraculous and merciful things for us, despite the things that we have done against him, rejecting him, out of blindness, out of ignorance. But God raised him from the dead, and we are witnesses of this. Peter is going to have to deal with their guilt, but then he's going to deal with the only hope they have, and that's found in Jesus. That tension is about to be released in the best sort of ways, as every eye is upon him and every ear is open and every heart is eager to hear what he has to say. Talk about taking advantage of a grace event. Lord bless you as you meditate upon this, as you think about this throughout this Thursday. God's grace and peace be upon you. We'll see you tomorrow.